Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Neptune Sunday. It's your boy. For those of you who can't see me, it's your boy Hoodie Moss. B Moss is here. Um, yeah, we're just gonna we're happy to be here. We're happy to be here. Bo, what's good?
I'm always happy to be here. I'm adulting. That's what I'm doing. So I'm happy to take a break to talk about the Neptunes and music.
There's a lot going on personally for us individually, but collectively as nation, world, universe. There's a lot going on, but here, hey, we're here. We're here. So let's get right into it. We're gonna get right into it. First off, with some Neptunes Pharrell current events. This is our first time connecting since our first episode in R&B season, which we're taking a break from R&B season, just FYI. We'll get to that. We'll get to the reasoning for that later. But let's just talk about any thoughts to wrap up Pharrell. I mean, not Pharrell. Usher and JT. We haven't talked about Super Bowl. Super Bowl was good. Thumbs up,
Super
thumbs
Bowl's great. Super
Super
Bowl's
Bowl.
great. I had a great time. Alicia, we all know how we felt about it, but we made it through.
And
I,
Situation to Rise was a high point of the show. It was. Just like we said it would be.
what I'll say is I feel like this is not a bad thing. I feel like Usher did his absolute best to prove every single thing he can do, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It made for a very filled performance.
For sure.
I could have taken a little bit more breathing room. I would have liked to like sit in the songs a little bit, but it was a really, really good performance. I enjoyed it.
It was very busy. And but that's what you gotta do when you got 13 minutes or whatever. You're trying to make sure people know that you are that guy. So
I've been on his neck. So
shout out to him.
yeah, good times. As for Mr. Timberlake,
Timberlake's got a Tiny Desk that came out today. I haven't listened to it, but Timberlake dropped the Tiny Desk today. He's on big album promo mode. Like he had some show, a couple, he's bringing out your boy Toby, who I know. Shout out to Toby. I like Toby. Toby is my guy. Houston, stand up.
I love that for you.
Um, but yeah, I haven't listened to the Tiny Desk. I'm sure it's good. I want to shout out my man who we interact with on Twitter. It's a DJ named Andrew Hypes, who's from the 804. I think he went to VCU, but he's getting a lot of love. He's been touring, doing these shows with JT. So shout out to him. And he's a supporter
Nice.
of the program. So Andrew Hypes, shout out to you, bro. Congrats.
Nice.
We didn't talk about the Miley release.
We did it.
This is kind of all tied in, right? So like
Yeah.
me, for those of you who listen to the show in order, the episode that's gonna drop before this one is an episode with me and Kia Turner from OK Player, and well, she used to be OK Player, and I think maybe she's still OK Player. Anyway, she's a writer. She does a lot in the media space and culture space, but I just started her own podcast. But she and I talked about this Miley release a little bit, and I want to see if she and I immediately clicked on it.
Okay.
So the Miley release is setting the tone for something, for Pharrell to be involved in something else that's coming up.
Are you saying this like you know what it is?
No, I'm telling you this. We're predicting the future, and I'm trying to see.
Oh, let me tell you something. When this Usher performance happened, everybody was like, who's going to do it next? We don't know. I said, Miley Cyrus.
That's not what I'm talking about, though.
Okay, well, what are we talking about?
The Miley song is got like hoedown vibes.
Oh, I got it. I got it. Got it.
Well,
Yes.
played it at the show, the Louis
Mm-hmm.
Vuitton show, where we had all these hoedown outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's been one person who has been rocking some of these Western themed get ups.
Is it one Cowboy Carter?
Mm-hmm. So that's what we said. I mean, the Miley song, even though it's old, but still the vibes of it and the release of it sets up
Yeah.
and highly anticipated, got to be an appearance from Cowboy Pharrell on the Cowboy Carter album.
Absolutely.
Makes too much sense. But
Yeah.
again, we hop on this podcast all the time and spew out my crazy marketing ideas, and I think I'm over a lot. So
You
maybe,
are. But
maybe I'm just too outside the box. Like this is just, I don't know.
what I think is these people need to be paying you for these ideas. But
That is true.
uh no, I mean I hope so. We got like a very small taste of Pharrell on the last one.
Right.
That was like by way of a sample, but I do feel like it makes more sense for him to be a little more closely involved on this one.
Right.
For him to be someone that she would reach out to. I'm hopeful for that. I think it's likely.
Okay. Well, back to the initial point. Do you like the Miley song? Yes or no?
Yeah.
I think it's catchy.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't remember it very clearly. I remember listening to it and I was like, oh, this is good.
And I
Um,
think that's just kind of like where the vibe is with all the Pharrell stuff. Again, even though that song is from 2014, it's
yeah,
still he releases music and stuff, and it's like, as we always talk about, the way that people consume music is different, and there's so much
yeah,
saturation that people don't want to give it the credit because it's not grinding, or it's not I'm a slave for you, because those songs were iconic, and it
yeah,
was so big at the moment, but there's so much other stuff happening. Like there's still good songs. Like the Miley song is a good song.
yeah, yeah. They age well, which I think is important to what we're gonna talk about today.
Right. Last thing, even though I've been to DC and back twice in the past 7 days, I am only slightly considering coming back to DC on Sunday. And here's why. The Washington Wizards have a DMV, DMV themed jersey and a DMV themed like series. Sunday's game, they're giving away bobbleheads of Pusha T.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Do that because I'm exhausted and I don't feel like driving up there. But I do, if I lived in DC, there would be a no-brainer. I'd go grab this Pusha T bobblehead without hesitation.
I mean, now I'm considering it. I don't have plans on Sunday.
I mean, they're playing the Celtics. It's gonna be a good game.
See what I can do now
Okay.
that I have this information.
Let me know and you have to get me one.
Of course.
All right. So, like I said, we are in the middle of R&B season, but we're taking a break from R&B season for this episode because we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of another important album in the lexicon, discography, whatever you want to say, of Pharrell, Chad, the Neptunes, N.E.R.D. And that is their album Fly or Die.
Arguably the best album.
Arguably, we're about to argue. So this album was released in March 23rd, 2004. Important to note that for this album, those guys, Pharrell and Chad and the crew and Shay, like actually worked on learning the instruments and playing the instruments themselves instead of having Spy Mob help them out like they did on In Search of. It's got, it continues this kind of anti-establishment vibe that you get from In Search of when we talked about it years ago, actually. Crazy. With the whole the government. How come I can't think of the quote right now? From Lap Dance. Everyone knows.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, continuing those vibes of anti-establishment, cover also the album covers a bunch of, it's like a teenage angst album for
Yes.
our generation, which is perfect because in 2004 we were angsty teenagers. And we're going to get into that in a second. But before we get into our personal thoughts about it, I wanted to have a conversation a little bit about the critical review of the album. So, doing some research this week, I discovered a review from Pitchfork. I want to make sure I give the guy credit who wrote it, because if you guys want to flame him, you should are welcome to. This was written by Brent D. Crescenzo, and overall it's kind of a negative review that I wasn't really vibing with it. But this is the part that really kind of grinded my gears. Again, this is written in 2004 when it came out. It says, quote, "The last year has seen the Neptunes beat themselves into tired ubiquity. For every milkshake or bubble, there are 10 change clothes or frontin'. Fly or Die was their appropriately titled chance to evolve beyond staccato acoustic guitars, bongos, and robot synths and stake their claim as true personalities in music. Sadly, when left to their own devices, they seem more fascinated by the opening clang of Purple Haze, yet technically unable to reproduce any other element of Hendrix's playing, style, or impact. They need the Pop Tarts dropped into their toaster. On their own, N.E.R.D are the hip hop Toto, and the nerdiest hold on, and the nerdiest thing about Pharrell Williams is that he probably takes that as a compliment.
There's a reason you didn't read me this quote earlier.
So let's digest this. So
Wow.
first of all, when he says the Neptunes beat themselves into ubiquity for every milkshake bubble, there are 10 chain clothes or frontin'. Like, which songs of those four are the bad songs?
Right.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Like, out of those four songs, which one is the one that you think is not good?
I clutched my chest when they said change clothes. I'm like, change clothes was an amazing song.
like I don't get it. I don't understand what his point's trying to be here. So I don't know, man. I just
I I can't I didn't agree with any single thing that he said. I think that like you make a really good point about like them trying to do their own instrumentation because like this is a natural progression from like where they came from. Like they did that first album, remixed it to have that like instrumental sound, and then they like played up that instrumental sound on this album. But I think that like N.E.R.D being in existence is very much a testament to like this place in between of like rock and rap and R&B and like the fusion of these genres. So it shouldn't sound like a Hendrix album because it's not trying to be a Hendrix album.
right,
Um, and that's exactly what we love about it because like I think that at that time we all listened to that album and we saw ourselves in it.
right. I mean, like when I read stuff about maybe it's I take it personally because I of what the personal connection I have to these guys because of what they represent for me being from Virginia and all of that. But also, like we talk about on the show all the time, how they gave black kids, especially black boys, a space to be multifaceted,
Yeah.
interested in multiple different things, to be able to listen to Jay-Z and Biggie, but also listen to Limp Bizkit and Corn or No
Sum
Doubt
41.
or or whoever, or Stevie Wonder and
Yeah.
Fire or whatever. So like I think that the reasons why someone like this would say that it sucks are the same reasons why we love this shit. It's because
Yeah.
it's representation of a bunch of different things that all mean something to Pharrell and mean something to people like us.
Right.
It resonates with us, and I don't know this guy, and
I want to know him.
but I think that that just kind of paints the picture of the difference in. I think we have this problem all the time, like, and we still have it today when people are writing about stuff that they have no idea. Like, I
Yeah.
just randomly saw on Twitter some people are in uproar because somebody wrote something about Jay Dilla and mentioned Detroit and mentioned that Dr. Dre was from Detroit and Dr. Dre is clearly from California. So how are you writing about music and you don't? Anyway, I don't. I'm just mentioning that because I saw it. I didn't look more into it, but that's kind of the same thing I'm trying to get to here. Is like you
Yeah.
we have to be
The
able to
choice.
give we have to be able to have context of the cultural and perspective of a person you're writing about something that sometimes it ain't for you,
Yeah.
and you got to be able to objectively say, okay, you know what, this ain't for me, but maybe it's for other. I don't know.
Right. I mean, I think it has a lot of merit. You picked up that I think the two reasons why both of us talk about the Neptunes are different. The reason for you is like they represent Virginia and this place that you're from and the influence from there, which is really important in Black music. And for me, it represents this like feeling a little bit out of place, a little bit different, wanting to explore all these different genres. And I get that through the Neptunes N.E.R.D. And so like they represent these very specific things to us. But I think that without that, the music still has a lot of artistic merit that I don't feel like he even appreciated. So I have a big problem with this with this article. I'm gonna write this guy a letter 20 years later.
Okay, so let's just, I mean, just for shits and giggles, like let's see what this guy think like what was hot in 2004 in rock and roll
Mm,
that he's saying is that he's kind of like holding as the standard. Let me go
right.
to um, man, what is okay, list of Billboard alternative number no. I just want to see 2004 specifically. So there's adults, pop, Christian, country, dance, electronic, holiday, internet, jazz, Latin, rap, hip hop, rock alternative. Okay. Hot rock alternative. I don't know why this is so difficult right now. Okay. Here's the best thing we're gonna get. The top. Okay. This is Hot 100. That's not the same thing though, because that's got everything in it. So we're just gonna look at Apple Music Rock Hits 2004 playlists.
Sure.
Linkin Park, Green Day,
Yes.
Franz Ferdinand, The Killers, Papa Roach, Hoobastank.
Cuba Stank.
U2's got Vertigo. That's kind of a classic, I guess. Um, I have never heard of 3 Days Grace. Never heard
I
of
have no one's listening to 3 Days Grace right now.
never heard of Kaiser Chefs.
What?
I've never heard of Lamb of God. I've never heard
I
of A
have.
Perfect Circle, Finger 11, Seether.
I don't see either.
Mm, I
These
mean,
are very 2004 coded though.
Nickelback, Incubus. I got those. Modest Mouse. Okay. Hives, Slipknot.
Yeah, I know Slipknot. I mean, these are all people that we very specifically listened to in that time, but I think that like I do a lot of like throwback Thursdays listening to music, and a lot of this music sounds outdated.
Yeah, like Green Day, Boulevard of Broken Dreams was everywhere in that year.
Yeah, yeah.
Franz Ferdinand, Take Me Out was everywhere that year.
Oh, too many places.
But the rest of these songs, I don't really.
I mean, I can go through a Linkin Park album and listen to it again, but like it's a very specific sound.
Yeah, like that American Idiot album was everywhere. But I don't know.
I,
Maybe
I think comparatively though, I can sit down and listen to I'm not always in the mood to listen to this album, but I think I can sit down and listen to this album front to back and feel like it's
no
still really.
skips. No skips.
Whereas if you turn I don't know why I'm going in on Sum 41 like this, but if you turn on some Sum 41 right now, I'm like, what is it? Like Papa Roach?
Oh man.
What was their song? Last Resort? That was a good song. But that's all we got.
Okay. All right, so tell me about yourself in 2004 when this album came out.
Oh man. Little Vogue was at a crossroads in music, trying to figure out her musical identity. I mean, like I was
This is
very
about your life, not about your musical identity. Who
that
were
was
you?
my life. What was I doing? I was in high school. That's what I did. I danced and I listened to music. That was pretty much it. Like I went to College Park. Um that's a very interesting mix of people that attend that school. Um
In
there's
2004? You started College Park in 2004?
we graduated in 2004, right?
I graduated in 2004.
So did I.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Graduated a year early?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you graduated a year early.
Yeah, I skipped a grade.
So you and Rachel weren't in the same class.
No.
That's craziness. How did I never knew that ever?
That is so funny. No, we were in the same class. I graduated a year earlier than her, but
That's
we're
crazy.
the same age.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
I apologize for questioning your life.
no, I mean I'm glad that our audience gets to hear how smart I am because I skipped a grade and they wanted me to skip two. So ha. But yeah, like finishing high school, going to college. This is like the soundtrack for all of that. Um, and I think I went from like I was on the dance team in high school, so like I was recommending songs and stuff like that. I think that maybe I made up dances to some of this stuff. I remember like I have very vivid memories of me dancing to this album in my grandmother's living room. So it was a lot of like we're graduating high school, so we don't have to do anything anymore. Transitioning to like there's this brand new experience of like this huge university.
2004, like like we talked about already, the teenage angst of 2000. Just that was when I I mean, this came out in the second semester of my senior year of high school. So I just remember sitting around the table on weekends because we could drive, but we really had nowhere to go. So people would just be at my mom's house playing spades and listening to this album. It was the combination of Nerdy Vaughn, who in the same year that I notoriously rocked this dope ass Ninja Turtles jacket from Hot Topic, and also was also like wearing Kanye polos every day with my collar popped. This is
Oh,
also the same year that I bought my first pair of Jordans. I didn't own a pair of Jordans until I bought them myself in 2004. So
that's huge.
that is a perfect summation of what I was just talking about with this album and what
Yeah.
N.E.R.D, Pharrell, and Chad and Shay and all those guys mean to us. Is like all three of those different things could be three different personalities that is all in me as one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also
I
important to
mean,
note, also very important to note, in 2004 is when I was a senior in high school, and in my homeroom, there was this girl named Nakia, and we didn't really talk that much because I was a freshman and I had too much stuff going on. And I was a senior and she was a freshman.
yeah.
But yeah, we got married 2 weeks ago. So yeah, how about that?
I did not know that.
How about that? What a time.
I mean, I knew about the second part. I didn't know about the high school part. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. So it's
Wow, what a comeback story.
crazy, 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 crazy.
Amazing.
I keep talking about I'm gonna have Kia on as just like to do a special episode. We have to do it before. I don't know. We have to do it soon.
That would be amazing.
Okay,
Love that.
so let's just get into the songs. First one, don't worry about it. I think it's strong. It's a
Mhm.
good opening song. Nothing too crazy to say about it, but it's a good
Yeah,
song.
great tone setter. I will say it feels there are a lot of tracks on here. I feel like they got a lot of inspiration for somebody who features on the album later, Lenny Kravitz. A lot
Mhm.
this song very much feels like him, who I also was into him at this time. So
Yes, I think I have that in my notes for the song that we'll talk about later. But yes,
yeah.
very much inspired by him. That Five album was
Oof.
and Damn, but that came out when I was just that came out years before that. That was seventh grade ish,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. They were getting the same influence as we were.
So then Fly or Die, right? We talked about the theme of the teenage angst, right? And I think that that is definitely captured in Fly or Die. And it's like you get these Nirvana teen spirit vibes, but it's
Yeah,
like it's different because these are like black kids from Virginia. So it's just a different energy, but it's the same feeling.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wrote down in my notes, and funny, this was before I knew about this article. Closely mimics the alt rock pop music of this era. So, like to me, I can hear all of that in this song.
Okay. So surprisingly not on the playlist that we just went through. The next song, Jump, features Good Charlotte. Like Good Charlotte didn't make the top hits in 2004. Like
They were huge.
I don't know how they didn't make the playlist though, but
They pissed off. um,
Good Charlotte. Oh no, yeah, Good Charlotte. Those guys are everywhere.
yeah, yeah. I actually wrote in my notes. I loved this feature. I was really excited to see them on this album when it came out. I actually wrote in my notes. For some reason, it reminds me of a rock version of Provider. It's not the exact same lyrical content, but like it puts you in the same kind of space. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think everybody who listens to the show knows that like Provider is one of my favorite songs
Mm-hmm.
by N.E.R.D.
Mm-hmm. So then we get into another teenage theme. First love, I'll just say that word, love. What with the song Backseat Love.
Phones for the kids.
I mean, listen, this is a show for all ages, for all you guys that are under 18 or whatever. Practice safe sex. That's the best sex. Car sex, not
Don't
don't
do it.
don't recommend.
Don't do it.
It's uncomfortable. You might pull a muscle or you can get arrested for that. You're in public. That's like it's not good.
It's a better idea than the actual payoff, is what I'll say to you.
Especially if it's like the first time. So you on top of you having no experience, you also don't have the right setting.
Mm-mm, don't do it.
Bad juju. That's bad juju. So if you didn't learn anything from this episode, let's take that away. That's a great little nugget for all you young listeners to the Neptune Sunday podcast. All right. Next is the hit single from the album She Wants to Move.
Top 5 all time N.E.R.D songs. Love this song. I was, actively dancing. So, I love this song. Anything that had to do with dance had to do with me. Um, the video is a really good video. I just tens across the board.
The song is just so funky. It's just great. And
Yeah.
speaking of the video features Alicia Dixon, who do you know who that is?
I know her face.
So apparently she was part of a group called Mystique.
Not
You ever
familiar.
heard of them?
No.
They had a song called Scandalous out in 2020 and 2004.
Oh, wait a minute. I know that song. I know that song. Oh, that's hilarious.
So, I mean, apparently she was rumored to be dating P at the time, which is why she's probably in the video. But Mystique, their music career didn't go that hot. But you knew the song. I had never heard the song before ever. So the fact that you knew it,
I'm telling you, all I did was listen to music.
gotta also talk about how there is a really, really dope Native Tongues remix of this song that features guest verses from Common, Mos Def, Q-Tip, and De La Soul. I wish they had done this when De La Soul was at Something in the Water this past spring, but obviously they lost a member, RIP Trugoy. But everyone killed it, like Mos Def, Q-Tip, and so it's really interesting too. Like I just saw a clip from maybe it's from years ago at a camp Flognaw where Tyler is interviewing P, but P is giving Tyler so much credit and so much love for the fact that he's able to perform at like a festival that Tyler's people and Tyler's and Odd Future is throwing.
Yeah.
P understanding how much he means to Tyler. Like he said, I wish I could have been able to do something like that, like for Q-Tip, right?
Yeah.
So we've talked about this before, how much P is a fan of Q-Tip. But to have those guys have a Native Tongues remix on this song was really dope. Um, Not on streaming, but go look it up on YouTube if you have not heard it. It's great.
Yeah. I actually haven't heard that one, so I'm gonna go check it out after this.
Okay. Next one is
Breakout.
out. Another teenage angsty song where P threatens to skateboard your ass. I don't even know what that means, but but it fits. It works. It works. It definitely works.
It does, I mean, push people is all I can say. So it's a fun song. It like I would kindly like to remind everybody I'm African American. I do not do mosh pits, but it made me consider.
Oh man. So Wonderful Place is really a cool change of pace. Those Jack and Jill friends that I'd mentioned that we were just sit at the table, like those guys may or may not have dabbled in a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Puffing of the Nah, so I mean those guys like this was a perfect song for them just to be like vibed out high, sitting at the table playing spades. I did
Yeah.
not
Yeah. I mean,
make it very clear. Not that I'm judging anyone for partaking. I'm just making it clear that that's not what I was doing, but I do feel the vibes in this song. The whistling, it's the whistling. The whistling is very much like I'm high on the water vibes.
yeah,
Right.
it is. I'm gonna hit you with a hearty no comment and move on to what I wrote down. It like it's a really colorful song.
Yes.
It's really illustrative. It feels like actually feels like a cartoon in
Yes.
like the songwriting, and it made me think. I was like, I wonder if this is kind of like the beginning of Pharrell wanting to like dabble in like making music for movies, and like he did the Despicable Me movies and all that. It's like I feel
Mhm.
like it had the same kind of tone, uh, more grown up than like a happy, but same
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Because he's like he's talking about like he's using this kind of chill vibe with like the cartoonish approach. He's talking about like a mouse is doing something in there. Like but he's also like talking about real life issues because I know he's talking about some kind of oil.
Yeah,
So he's using that as a way to like paint this picture of a little bit of a political commentary, but doing it in a way that's like masked as being kind of
yeah,
whimsical.
yeah, very palatable. I should have made this comment earlier. This album has incredible hidden tracks. Um, so much so, I think at least one of them, I think is like one of my favorite N.E.R.D songs. We'll get there, but there's a hidden track on this song.
Yeah, so the hidden track after Wonderful Place is Waiting for You, which tells a very like detailed story of a kid almost drowning. And it can seem weird. Like I think it didn't hit me until recently that it seemed like a random story to tell on this album, but the way he says "I love you, Ma" at the end, knowing how close he is with his mother, it makes you think that maybe it's a story that actually happened to him.
Yeah, I think that was my assumption when I first heard this song. Um, so I'd have to do some research as to how true that is, but like it felt like personal.
Right. I did. Where did I feel that? Let me see. Doing a quick little. Yeah. A lot of, just vibes about moms love you, God. Like, just moms love you. Like, about to drown, your mom's gonna save you. Like, that's kind of like the vibes.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. So then we get into Drill Sergeant, obviously anti-war, which was like very. We talked about Green Day, American Idiot, which is kind of like a lot of people who were taking the time through their music to kind of denounce the Iraq War, which was really starting to bubble in 2004.
Yep.
Um, some not so subtle anti-Bush, anti-government sentiments in that song, Drill Sergeant, but
Yeah.
got to give them the credit for, using this album and using their music consistently to just not just let things go quietly, but to kind of like where it makes sense to sprinkle stuff in.
Yeah, that's something I can always appreciate. I tend to be a pretty actively liberal person in my personal life. And I can always appreciate a message, an anti-war message. This is not my favorite song on the album, but I think at the time and probably now I like see it for what it was. It was like a means of sending a message.
Right. That has Drill Sergeant has hidden track Preservation at the end. Is that the one you're talking about? Is your favorite? No?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Preservation doesn't really stick out to me. Preservation around challenges that come with fame and success in music industry. Oh, now I know. Okay, yeah, that's the one where he's talking about where he's like screaming want war. Yeah, he's kind of like talking about how he doesn't like being in the limelight.
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest, no with you. You can cut this out if you want. I look confused because I am confused. I don't think I've ever heard this, and I just listened to this album
That's
twice.
because you said you didn't listen to Drill Sergeant. So Drill Sergeant, this is a hidden track at the end of Drill Sergeant, so you didn't even make it to this
But I
part.
listened to it straight through yesterday. I don't remember this at all.
You probably just received it, consumed it as like an extension of Drill Sergeant. Like,
Probably. And yeah,
because
you're
it's very
right.
similar. It's got very similar vibes.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
All right, we move on to Thrasher. More teen angst, getting bullied. Every once in a while, there's that asshole. Like, you just gotta get dealt with.
Love this song. This is the Lenny Kravitz feature. Um, Incredible guitarist. I don't know. I don't have any notes except for how much I love this song.
Is Lenny on? He's on this one? I thought he was only on maybe.
Hmm. My Spotify says Thrasher, but I started
Interesting.
Revelation 2 seconds ago, so I could be wrong.
Interesting. Let me. I'm not a Spotify person. I get I get all my credits from Tidal.
Yeah. Maybe does not say Lenny Kravitz for me.
Maybe. Oh, okay, okay. So you said Thrasher,
Yeah, he's credited on both Drill Sergeant and Thrasher.
Thrasher featured artist. Yes, Lenny
Yeah.
Kravitz. Maybe drums. Okay, that's where. No, he's featured. Title says guitar, Lenny Kravitz on flyer on maybe as well.
Okay. I mean, I think it's worth noting that like a lot of the time if you're working with the artist on an album, there may be uncredited stuff that they do or credit in some places and not others.
Right. But it definitely makes sense that he's on Thrasher too, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, thinking about that. So that takes us right into maybe, which is, I mean, between She Wants to Move and maybe you can't go wrong if you choose either one of these songs as the best songs on the album.
Agreed.
I mean, Love Was the Egg, that Hatch on the Ground is what a met like P is good for some opening liners, man. Like
Yes.
they
I
are.
used to be obsessed with this song. I actually remember playing it on repeat. Like maybe it's such a good song.
So we talked about Lenny Kravitz being on there, but it's also got Questlove drums featured on maybe. Um, we talked about Lenny Kravitz earlier, right? Like I think that definitely is a natural transition that helped us get from Lenny Kravitz 5 album, Fly Away, and, and there's other stuff, American Woman, Are You Gonna Go My Way? Like that definitely for people like us is a direct channel into this N.E.R.D album of the In Search of Spy version, but definitely having him on here connects that dot for sure.
Absolutely.
Also want to shout out there's a Maybe remix that is on the Re-Up Gangs. We got it for Cheap Volume 2, which features some of the best Pharrell raps ever. He mixes the opening couple of bars, instrumentally from Maybe into Outkast Elevators beat. And he actually raps pretty crazy. We talked about this on our Pharrell Raps Bracket episode with me and my knucklehead friends over the summer. But if you haven't heard that, go check it out. Pharrell was really in his bag when he was rapping, because that's when he was kind of like mad that people were saying all their songs sound the same. He
Yeah.
says like grinding, sounding like fronting. You niggas is reaching.
Big reach.
All right. Next song is probably my vote for the underrated song of the album. Like I love this song. The way she dances is amazing.
That's a good song. I actually think that over time, it has grown on me more. Like I kind of forget that how I like it that much, and I listen to it. I'm like, oh, this is a good song.
Right. I literally danced with the girl in her underwear to the song, and then that's kind of where like I think that's where it stuck with me, because that's what he's talking about, and I was just like, damn, this is the perfect song to play right now, and just
That's
good
a,
vibes.
that's a great piece of backstory.
Good vibes. Good vibes. That was also not in 2004. It was years later, maybe even 10 years, 10 plus. So I want you guys to understand, like, I wasn't in my teenage angsty, like, I'd outgrown that, but still came back to the vibes, because the vibes are immaculate. The vibes are forever.
You were like, this is the song that would fit here. There's a world of music other than this, but
I
this was
wasn't ready in 2004, but in
hey,
2014, there we go. The way she dances.
they make songs for all stages of life.
Oh man. Okay. We're wrapping it up. Chariot of Fire is just a cool, like, it feels like they were just like, okay, this album's done. Let's just have fun with it. I wrote this song while I was drunk, and like the song just goes from there. Like it's a good song that you want to sing to, but it's like a lot of randomness.
What are we talking about? Which I think is something that like is allowed in rock and alternative music that maybe we aren't as rap and R&B fans aren't as happy with.
Right.
So it's nice to hear them just like playing around, like you said, just like being funny.
Yep. In our, you know, for lack of a better term, black music lexicon, like we're really like, we need you to, I need some substance. You're gonna rap about something. But I think that that's also part of the freedom that Pharrell has given the kids, like, because a lot of these kids are talking about shit. Like,
Wow, we sound old.
I mean, but it works, man. Whatever works. Express yourself. Be yourself, man. Be true to yourself. So is this the hidden track that you like? Find My
It
Way?
is.
Okay. Tell
This
us.
is my Vogue backstory song because I want to say I did a wait for it Zanga layout based on this song.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta explain to people what you're talking about.
So back in the olden days of the internet, blogging site like micro blogging sites were more popular. Like you had the blog spots, you had the live journals, you had Zanga was a really popular one, particularly when we were in high school, but I think later on it moved to like live journal was like the main joint, and like what we have now that's familiar is like a Tumblr. And because I was a baby web designer, I taught myself to design, and so like I would do layouts and like pick pictures and images that were inspired by music or TV shows. And this was one of them because I really, really loved this song. I thought it was so sweet. I also keep in mind I am a teenager. I am just understanding. I think like my boyfriend went to a different college than me. So I was like, I hope we find our way back to each other. We did not. This is not like Fawn's story. We never dated again. So, but it was a nice sentence.
I think I do. I think I have similar vibes for that song that you had for the other one. Like, I recognize it, but because Chariots of Fire is so, it's a good song, but you don't necessarily have to listen to it all the way through to get the vibe. So, like, it makes sense that Find My Way is not necessarily that doesn't resonate that much with me as much as the other two hidden tracks.
It also is a long wait until you get there. Like, I think that I probably listened to this album a few times without making it there. And like I just happened to have left it on one day and I was like, oh wait, there's a song here.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go. What's your favorite song?
She wants to move. I feel like it's too easy, but it just is my favorite song.
My favorite song is, I don't know. I think it might be, maybe it's really good.
It's really good.
Maybe it's really good.
That's easily my second favorite, so like I can't argue with you there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say maybe.
Okay.
And then most underrated song.
Most underrated song. I don't really remember what other people felt about this, but like I just love Thrasher a lot. And I don't remember talking about it with anybody at the
Thrasher?
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thrasher was good. I like Thrasher a lot. I would say it's hard for me not to say the way she dances though, just because it's the vibes.
Yeah.
It's
You got a great backstory. How could you not pick that song?
all right. So let me, now that I'm on title looking at it. So let's just to make sure that we're clear and everyone has their history lesson. So
Yes.
according to the title, Lenny Kravitz is on, okay, Lenny Kravitz is on Drill Sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Kravitz is on Thrasher.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny Kravitz is on Maybe. And that's it,
Okay.
which makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, 20 years, like here's my next random prediction. Like, let's hope these guys get together at something in the water this year and do a 20-year anniversary of this album. I think that would be great. Like the real nerd fans would go crazy for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to speak that into existence because I would love that.
I think it's time. It's time, guys. But I don't know. The speculation of this Pharrell Friends album has got to be coming, so I'm assuming that that's going to be a huge focus of the Something in the Water. I've also heard that there's a chance that it's not going to be in the spring. It might be like later in the fall. So I don't know, guys.
I would super appreciate that because my concert budget is already out the window. So, we can push this back a little bit.
What concert are you going to?
I'm going to Krungbing in like 2 weeks. I see you blinking. I hear the audience blinking.
What did you say?
Krungbing. It's a don't worry, it's like a Thai word. It's a indie band, indie like funk and like psychedelic funk band. I'm gonna go see them in 2 weeks. I'm going to why can't I think of the festival name? There's a festival in New York that happens every year. That I'm going to. I think I'm going to something else I can't remember. So I've already like started booking concerts. So pockets are thin. The economy's in the toilet.
It's rough out here. But before we go, I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed. I'm quite embarrassed, and I'm ashamed of both of us. because we were on here talking about Justin Timberlake. His album actually dropped yesterday or today.
Yeah.
And we have no commentary for it. So let's see. Did P make the album?
Let's see. I'm gonna be transparent. I knew that album dropped.
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Ah.
Uh, I don't see it. I don't see.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
I'm gonna give it a listen. I'm not gonna treat this album like I did Man of the Woods. I'm gonna get a fair and honest chance.
I mean, I'm seeing some Timberland.
I mean, I can appreciate that, but I mean, we're gonna get into an entirely different music discussion if I keep going.
Just I don't understand, guys. How can you not have how? How is this?
I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna listen to it this weekend, but I do want you to know, personally know, if this album is bad, you're gonna hear from my lawyers.
I'm there's really no reason for us to listen to it if there's no Pharrell on it. Like, I mean,
I mean, yeah,
or no rush to listen to it at least. There's no Pharrell on it. Thumbs down.
thumbs down, two thumbs down, if you will.
Nah, I'm just joking, guys. I'll listen to it. I'll try to give it a shot. You know, I'm a fan.
You know, he turned into a fan of Man of the Woods, so this you don't know how you'll feel about this.
Good to see him with the NSYNC guys too, performing Bye 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 the other night too. Like that's great. Good for them. Good for them.
Nostalgia gets you every time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, extremely disappointing that there's no Pharrell presence on the album, but I'm gonna listen to it anyway, JT. And I'm also doing it because of my man Andrew Hype. So shout out to Andrew Hypes again. I'm gonna give it a shot for you because JT's paying your checks. So I
Let's
want
do it for Andrew.
you to win, my brother. I want you to win. But yeah. All right, guys. It's been another great episode of Neptunes Sunday. Just one of those ones when you catch me in Vogue in rare form where we might say anything. And I think that we did. And so um look forward to the next episode. We're gonna get back to R&B season, we promise. Life has been crazy, but there's some things that we're trying to make happen for R&B season that will be really dope. The episode, if you skipped it, because it's coming out before this one with Kia Turner, is very focused on the R&B side of it. So check that out. But look for more dope R&B themed episodes and content for the rest of season 4. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Catch you next Neptune Sunday.
Peace out.